Have you ever looked at your paycheck and thought, once I earn a little more, everything will finally fall into place? Most people believe that financial freedom begins with a bigger salary. It sounds logical. Earn more, save more, worry less. But what if that belief is quietly keeping millions of people trapped in the same financial cycle year after year? In our last documentary, Ethan Carter discovered an uncomfortable truth. Saving money by itself wasn't enough to build wealth. He learned that money sitting idle slowly loses its power, while money invested has the potential to grow through time and compound returns. For the first time, he stopped thinking like a saver and started thinking about becoming an investor. It felt like the beginning of a new chapter. 3 months later, Ethan received the news he had been working toward for years. His manager called him into the office. "You've done great work this quarter," she said with a smile. "We're giving you a promotion." Along with the new title came a higher paycheck. Ethan left the building feeling unstoppable. He imagined paying bills with ease, growing his savings faster, and finally making real progress toward the future he wanted. For the first few weeks, everything seemed different. He upgraded his apartment to a newer neighborhood closer to work. It wasn't a necessity, it just felt like the right reward after years of hard work. Soon after, he traded his reliable sedan for a newer SUV with a monthly payment that seemed manageable. His daily coffee became a premium cafe ritual instead of something brewed at home. Weekends turned into dinners at trendy restaurants, and online shopping became a harmless way to celebrate small victories. None of these decisions felt reckless. Each one seemed reasonable on its own. After all, he could afford it, right? Then one evening, Ethan opened his banking app. He expected to see months of progress. Instead, the numbers looked strangely familiar. His income had increased, but his bank balance hadn't. The excitement of the promotion was gone, replaced by one unsettling question. Where was all the money going? What Ethan didn't realize was that his biggest financial obstacle wasn't his income anymore. It wasn't taxes, it wasn't inflation, and it certainly wasn't a lack of opportunity. It was something far more subtle, a pattern so common that millions of people repeat it without ever noticing. A pattern that quietly grows alongside every raise, every promotion, and every increase in income. Financial experts have a name for it. But before we uncover that hidden trap, we need to understand why our brains encourage us to spend more the moment we earn more. Because the first mistake isn't just costing people money, it's quietly stealing their future without them ever realizing it. The answer to Ethan's question wasn't hidden inside his bank statement. It was hidden inside his habits. Like millions of people, Ethan had fallen into a financial trap so common that it often feels completely normal. The strange part is that almost nobody notices it while it's happening. It's called lifestyle inflation. Imagine your income as water flowing into a bucket. Most people assume that when more water flows in, the bucket naturally fills up. But lifestyle inflation quietly drills new holes into the bottom. As your income grows, so do your expenses, often at the exact same pace. Without realizing it, Ethan had upgraded nearly every part of his daily life. His apartment was nicer, his car was newer, his phone plan became more expensive, streaming subscriptions multiplied, meals that used to be occasional treats became weekly routines, small purchases, $12 here, $35 there, $80 somewhere else, began blending into everyday life. None of these decisions felt irresponsible on their own. That was exactly the problem. Financial setbacks rarely arrive in one dramatic moment. They creep in through dozens of small decisions that seem harmless until they begin working together. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation, our tendency to quickly become accustomed to improvements. The excitement of a raise, a new car, or a nicer apartment fades surprisingly fast. Once something becomes your new normal, your brain starts searching for the next upgrade. The satisfaction disappears. The higher expenses remain. Ethan wasn't trying to impress anyone. He genuinely believed he had earned a better lifestyle, and to some extent he had. The mistake wasn't enjoying his success. It was allowing every increase in income to become a permanent increase in spending. Then came the second mistake. Whenever another paycheck arrived, Ethan thought the same thing. I deserve this. Those 4 words quietly emptied his future. Instead of asking, how can this money create more money, he asked, what can this money buy today? That simple shift in thinking changed everything. A $500 raise could have become an automatic monthly investment into an index fund, giving compound growth years to work. Instead, it disappeared into higher car payments, dining out, convenience, and impulse purchases. This is where the concept of opportunity cost quietly enters the picture. Every dollar spent today is a dollar that can no longer grow for tomorrow. Money is always doing one of two things. It's either building your future or paying for your present. Very rarely does it do both. Ethan still believed his biggest challenge was learning how to earn more. He hadn't yet realized that the real challenge was learning how to keep and grow what he already earned. But even lifestyle inflation wasn't the most dangerous trap waiting for him. Because the next mistakes don't just slow your financial progress, they quietly put your future wealth into reverse. A few weeks passed, and Ethan became more careful with his spending. He skipped a few restaurant meals, canceled a couple of subscriptions, even started making coffee at home. For a moment, it felt like he was finally taking control. But then something unexpected happened. His car needed new tires. An unexpected medical bill arrived. A friend's wedding invitation meant booking flights and a hotel. Almost overnight, the progress he had made disappeared. Without enough cash set aside, Ethan reached for something that felt harmless: his credit card. Just this once, or so he thought. That single decision introduced him to money mistake #3, depending on expensive debt to solve short-term problems. Credit cards aren't inherently bad. Used responsibly, they can offer convenience, rewards, and help build a strong credit history. The real danger begins when borrowed money becomes a substitute for financial planning. Every month, Ethan paid only the minimum balance, believing he'd catch up later. But interest doesn't wait. While Ethan slept, worked, and lived his daily life, the balance quietly grew. The purchases were long forgotten, but the debt remained, demanding a portion of every future paycheck before he could spend a single dollar on himself. It felt as though he was running forward on a treadmill that kept getting faster. Then came money mistake #4, emotional spending. After stressful workdays, buying something new felt rewarding. A new pair of sneakers, the latest smartwatch, a weekend getaway. Each purchase delivered a brief rush of excitement. But within days, the feeling faded. Psychologists have long observed that shopping can temporarily boost mood by triggering the brain's reward system. The problem is that emotional relief rarely lasts as long as the monthly payment. Instead of solving stress, emotional spending often creates a new source of it: bills, debt, regret. Then Ethan made the fifth mistake, one that many people never recognize. He confused liabilities with assets. He proudly financed a luxury SUV because it looked successful, but every month it required another payment: insurance, fuel, maintenance, registration. The vehicle wasn't putting money into his pocket, it was taking money out of it. An asset is something that has the potential to generate income, appreciate in value, or strengthen your financial position over time. A liability consistently costs you money to own. The distinction sounds simple. Living by it is much harder. Many people work incredibly hard to afford things that quietly make them poorer every single month. Imagine spending $600 every month on a luxury car payment. If that same amount were invested consistently over decades, the long-term difference could be enormous because of compound growth. The real cost isn't just the payment, it's the wealth that money never had the chance to build. By now, Ethan understood something that completely changed his perspective. His paycheck wasn't disappearing because he earned too little. It was disappearing because his money had no direction. But the biggest mistake of all was still ahead. Because even after fixing spending habits and avoiding unnecessary debt, many people unknowingly make one decision that costs them years of wealth before they even realize it. For the first time in months, Ethan felt like he was finally seeing the full picture. He understood why his salary wasn't translating into wealth. He had identified the habits draining his money. He had begun budgeting more intentionally, paying down his credit card, and questioning purchases before making them. But one evening, while reviewing his finances, he stumbled across an investment calculator. Curious, he entered a simple scenario: invest $500 every month, starting at age 25. Then he compared it to starting at age 35, investing the exact same amount every month. The difference was staggering, not because the older investor contributed less, but because the younger investor gave compound growth something priceless: time. That realization hit Ethan harder than any credit card bill ever had. He wasn't just losing money through bad habits, he had been losing years. And that's when he discovered money mistake: waiting too long to invest. Many people tell themselves they'll start investing once they earn more, pay off every debt, buy a house, or simply feel ready. But financial markets don't reward perfect timing, they reward consistency. No one can predict the perfect moment to begin. Yet every year spent waiting is a year that compound growth never gets back. Think of investing like planting a tree. The best time to plant it was years ago. The second best time is today. Even modest, consistent investments made over many years can grow far beyond what most people expect. It's not about chasing the highest returns or finding the next hot stock. It's about giving your money enough time to work on your behalf. As Ethan continued reading, he uncovered another uncomfortable truth. Most of his financial mistakes had one thing in common. He had never been taught how money actually works. School taught him algebra, history, science, but almost nothing about investing, taxes, credit, retirement planning, risk, inflation, or building wealth. That became money mistake 7 of wealth. Ignoring financial education. The wealthiest people don't necessarily have access to secret information. They simply understand financial principles that many others never take the time to learn. Every book, every documentary, every credible financial article, every lesson compounds, just like money does. Knowledge creates better decisions create better habits, and better habits create better financial outcomes. Ethan didn't transform overnight. He didn't suddenly become wealthy. He still made mistakes. He still caught himself wanting unnecessary upgrades. He still felt the temptation of instant gratification. The difference was that now, he recognized those moments before they turned into expensive habits. His budget became a roadmap instead of a restriction. His investments became automatic instead of optional. His financial education became part of his daily routine rather than something he'd learn someday. For the first time, Ethan realized that building wealth wasn't about finding shortcuts. It was about building a system that quietly worked for him every single day. And once he understood that, everything began to change. But before we finish Ethan's journey, there's one final lesson that ties all 7 mistakes together. A lesson that could completely change the way you think about money for the rest of your life. Several months later, Ethan sat in the same apartment where this chapter of his financial journey had begun. The room looked almost identical. The same desk, the same laptop, the same morning coffee. From the outside, nothing about his life suggested a dramatic transformation. But beneath the surface, everything had changed. His paycheck wasn't much higher than it had been a few months earlier. He hadn't won the lottery. He hadn't started a $1 million business. He hadn't discovered a secret investment that promised overnight riches. Instead, he had built something far more powerful, a system. Every payday, a portion of his income was automatically transferred into an investment account before he had the chance to spend it. His emergency fund slowly grew, giving him confidence instead of anxiety when unexpected expenses appeared. Before buying something new, he asked himself a different question. Will this improve my lifestyle for a moment, or improve my financial future for years? That single question changed countless decisions. He no longer viewed money as something to spend as quickly as possible. He viewed it as a tool, a worker, a seed capable of growing into something much larger over time. And that's the lesson most people never hear. Building wealth isn't about making one perfect financial decision. It's about making hundreds of small, intentional decisions that quietly compound over years. Think about the 7 mistakes we've uncovered. Lifestyle inflation, spending every raise, depending on expensive debt, emotional spending, buying liabilities instead of assets, waiting too long to invest, ignoring financial education. None of them seem catastrophic on their own, but together, they create a financial current so strong that many people spend decades swimming against it without understanding why they never move forward. The encouraging news is that the opposite is also true. Small positive habits compound just as powerfully, saving a little more, investing consistently, learning one new financial concept each week, choosing assets over unnecessary liabilities, thinking long-term instead of chasing instant gratification. These actions may feel insignificant today, but over the course of 10, 20, or 30 years, they can completely reshape your financial future. Wealth is rarely built through one extraordinary moment. It's built through ordinary decisions repeated with extraordinary consistency. Ethan's journey is far from over. He still has more to learn. He'll face new challenges, new opportunities, and new financial decisions. But now, he's no longer relying on luck or hoping that a bigger paycheck will solve every problem. He's relying on knowledge, discipline, and a system designed to make money work for him instead of the other way around. Because the goal was never simply to earn more. The goal was always to build a life where money creates freedom instead of stress. Wealth isn't built by avoiding every mistake. It's built by recognizing them early enough to change your future. If this documentary helped you see money from a different perspective, consider subscribing to ZK Finance. Every episode is designed to simplify complex financial ideas through cinematic storytelling, helping you build wealth through knowledge, not guesswork. Because your financial future isn't decided by what you earn today, it's decided by the choices you begin making today.